it takes the pressure off of you. You do not know everything, and you don't have to know everything.
Hi, my name's Devin. Today I own several multi-million-dollar companies. We started with $5,000 in a credit card. I don't know the easy way. I only know the hard way.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Whiteboard Entrepreneur Podcast, where I give straightforward advice to fuel the entrepreneur in all of us. And today I want to talk about how, as an entrepreneur or leader, you don't really have to have all of the answers. And hopefully, as I say that, this relieves some stress and some anxiety in your lives, because I realized a long time ago that I carried this burden, and the burden was that as the leader, I felt like I had to have the answer for everything in my organizations. Any problem, I had to solve it. Any question, I had to know the answer. Any new venture, boom, I had to have a crystal ball and have everything already figured out. And so I started to wear this like burden, and it's paralyzing, because you start to believe like, oh my gosh, I have to give an answer whether I know it or not. And so you're saying some things that frankly are stupid, right? Or just wrong answers. And you're giving bad advice, and you feel this pressure and this anxiety to perform. And then I had a moment that really, really helped me. And I have to tell you this story because it was a moment that changed for me. And it was a moment that really set me free. I was actually teaching at this conference overseas, and it was a business session, and I had done like 2 or 3 days back to back, and taught, I don't even know, like 15, 20 sessions. And we were on the very last one, and I felt like the seminar had gone really well. I really enjoyed the people. And we kind of had a very small, at the end, it was like a luncheon Q&A. And so people had a chance to ask questions. And so they were asking, lots of different questions, and it was a very relaxed environment. And I remember sitting there and thinking like, wow, I'm nailing this. I'm really good. This is great. I'm getting all these questions. People are going, oh yeah, that's great advice. That's great advice. And then someone raised their hand, and again, I'm feeling really good about myself and really confident. And the person raised their hand and said, yeah, Devin, so I own this concrete factory, and the communists came and they burned it down a month ago, and I just don't know what to do, whether I should move my concrete factory to, another island, whether I should leave it there, whether I should rebuild, should I get armed guards? What do you think I should do, Devin? And I was like, and all of a sudden I felt this like burden that I had to come up with this answer. And in my prideful, arrogant, stupid, narcissistic self, I started to give this person advice, right? I started to say something, and then I was like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? And so I stopped myself and said, I have to be totally honest. I have no idea what you should do. I have no perspective whatsoever on what you're going through, right? Like I've never had a problem like that. I've never had communists burn down anything that I've owned, and I certainly don't know what to do if they did. And so I was like, I don't know what to tell you. And then all of a sudden I said, you know what? Look around here. And I said, there's about, 60, 80 people in this room right now. I said, somebody here though has some advice that they can give you. Someone here can relate. And I bet you guys can come up with a really good solution, a really good answer with the people that are in this room. And so I said, hey, not right now, but at the next break, I said, would you please raise your hand right now if at the next break you're willing to do a little breakout session with this person if you feel like you have experience and insight. And in that room, there was like 4 or 6 people that raised their hand and actually had real solid advice that they could offer this person. But if I had just gone and said something stupid, right, and feel like the pressure of having to have an answer, we wouldn't have had the opportunity for these people who actually did have perspective, who actually had real answers, to go and be able to work with this person. And that for me was a moment that I realized, oh my gosh, like I don't need to have all the answers. even if you're the leader, you don't have to have all the answers. I'm a coach and I have a bunch of assistant coaches, and it literally is because I need their perspectives. I never make a lineup. I never make changes without talking to all of my assistant coaches, because almost every time they have a perspective I don't. And I will tell you that when I'm coaching and in business, I bet you we use my solution, my answer, my thoughts probably less than half of the time. Most of the time, we're going with someone else's solution, someone else's answer, someone else's insight. And let me tell you, that is so relieving for me. Like, that feels great now. It didn't in the beginning, right? Because in the beginning, you have these insecurities of like, no, I'm the leader. I have to have the answer. And if someone else would speak up, we almost felt like, at least I felt like I almost had to trump them with my answer. Right? Because I'm like, no, I'm the leader and I'm the one to come up with the answer. And I realized that behavior then squashes those folks around you and you don't get the best out of them. So now all of a sudden you end up in a scenario where you carry this burden, you have all of this anxiety, you have all of this pressure to come up with the right answers. And frankly, you don't have all the right answers. You don't have all the right perspective. You don't have all the insight, all the knowledge that everybody else in the room does. And so you're squashing the people that can help with your pride and instead allowing them to rise up and provide insight that frankly could take the pressure off of you, right? Allow you to sit back and listen to other people's insights. And I've realized, listen, I'm 50 years old right now as I film this. And I've been doing business now for a long time, probably the last 30-ish years, and I have a perspective and I have a pattern recognition of things that have worked for me over these years. But over 50 years, I'm pulling pattern recognition for 20, 30 years ago. And that's great that I have this pattern recognition. I can identify things. And there's a lot of wisdom in that. But again, this is my perspective. I'm only working off of my perspective. So if I allow an opportunity for other people to bring their perspectives and their pattern recognition, what they perceive to be true, and the advice and the insights that they have, it doesn't have to be my answer. It doesn't have to be their answer. Sometimes it's a combination of both. But if you create this environment where you literally tell your people, hey, I don't know. As a leader, if you say, I don't know, what do you think? Or, geez, I got to tell you, I'm feeling super insecure here because I have no idea. That allows everyone else to have security. That allows everyone else to have confidence. When you show that vulnerability as a leader that, hey, I'm the leader and I don't know, let's figure this out together. Think about how empowering that is to those around you, right? Think about how when you bring others into this decision-making process, how they grow. Like even talking about coaches, like sometimes not only do I do this with my coaches, but I'll actually pull players. I'll pull my captains. I'll pull my seniors. I'll pull my juniors. I'll pull my people who've been on the field, and I will ask them for their perspective. We don't always go with someone, we kind of gather this information from lots of different people, but it empowers people, puts them on their team, and it takes the pressure off of you. You don't know everything. You do not know everything, and you don't have to know everything. I really hope this helps with your security as a leader to be able to deal with this anxiety and the pressures of being at the top. There's no way you can know everything, and you shouldn't. Allow others to help bring them into these problems, solve these problems together, work with them together, and show yourself vulnerable enough that you don't have to have all the answers. I'm Devin. This is a Whiteboard Entrepreneur. And if you apply these principles that we talked about today to your life today, it's going to relieve stress. It's going to release anxiety, and it's going to make your organization so much better. I'm Devin, this Whiteboard Entrepreneur. Hope this helps. Take a quick moment and hit that subscribe button for more content.